Oh, come on, Bob. Not another cash deal. This is your second cash deal of the day. All I've been getting is cash the last couple days. Can't make no money with cash deals. Can't you do better than a cash deal? Bring me a finance deal or at least a lease deal, but not another cash deal. You ever been in that situation where you go into work, you had a couple cash deals the day before, you go into work prepared to make some money, and the first deal of the day is a cash deal? Man, that's so frustrating. But let's face it, when you signed up for this gig, you're going to get cash deals. You're going to get those finance deals. You're going to get those lease deals, but you're still going to get those cash deals. And I know what you're thinking. I can't make nothing on cash. And that's quite frankly the wrong attitude. You have to look at every deal as an opportunity. Because let's face it, you got this sales consultant that's been out there busting his butt, trying to sell 10 to 12 cars a month, maybe 15 cars a month. And you're seeing every one of his customers. And when he brings you a deal and it's a cash deal and you go with that attitude, not another cash deal, Bob, what are you doing? Not only do you affect his attitude, but you've already started to set your attitude. You got to look at every deal as an opportunity. What I'm going to do over the next few minutes or several minutes is I'm going to share with you what I feel are the three most important things. Mindset, number one. Number two, follow the process. And number three, dig your heels in and sell some product on cash deals. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and want F&I training that pays for itself in the first week, sign up for Prod Prep Live, where you'll be seeing me live twice a week. Just click on the link in the description and join 1,000+ F&I managers who've succeeded from my training. Now back to the video. And I'm going to share with you how I feel you should do it. I know cash deals are tough, but let's face it, they're going to be there. There's nothing you can do about them. Cash deals are going to be there. So stop with the verbal vomit and stop throwing up all over your customer and follow the process. The number one thing that you need to do in order to maximize your potential on cash deals is form a connection with your customer. And I often talk about the three journeys that the customer goes through, where they go through this awareness stage, where they're aware they want a vehicle. Then they're going through the discovery stage, where they're trying to discover the type of vehicle they want, where they want to do business, the prices they want to pay, and most importantly, how they're going to pay for it. And then they go to a decision stage based on their experience through their discovery stage. And if you want to maximize your potential on all deals, including cash deals, is you want to get involved with the manufacturer in that deal while that customer is in that discovery stage. Once they contact that sales consultant, have a dialogue with that sales consultant, you want to get in on that deal so you can determine the customer's intentions, how they're going to pay for the vehicle, and then form that connection with the customer. So then when they get to the dealership, because we know that 80% of the deals are manufactured online. That's an absolute fact. In most cases, it could be 90% depending on what part of the country you live in. And because those deals are being manufactured online, oftentimes you don't have the opportunity to speak with that customer until they get to the dealership. And that oftentimes is just way too late to speak to a customer. So my first recommendation would be to get to the customer fast and furious. Look at your CRM tool and manage the CRM tool and have conversations with your sales zone as to where they are in the progression of that customer's journey and how you'll fit in influencing the customer to decide to do business at your dealership. And once you talk to that customer, determine how they're going to pay for the vehicle. And if they're paying cash, congratulate them. I'm going to share with you on other videos how to do a cash conversion. But right now, I want to talk about that customer that's definitely paying cash and how you can maximize your potential on those deals. And that number one thing is you got to form that connection. And during forming that connection, what you're doing is you're gathering information that's going to allow you at the end of a menu presentation, which I'll share with you in a few slides, is to ask them questions about their driving habits so that when they get to the dealership, you have something to rely on. It's like you plan, prepare so that you can perform much better. Stop going out to every presentation, that cash deal, and just throwing up all over them, tell them all the reasons they should buy and not determining their reasons why they should buy. Because all you're doing is giving them your reasons why they should buy. And quite frankly, that's not enough. Especially with a cash deal. You got to find out that subtle need and determine the why so they can amplify it once you give your presentation. It's really that simple. And you got to remember, there's a number of features and benefits that benefit everybody, whether they're financing the car, leasing the car, or especially with a cash customer. I mean, let's face it, every product and service that you have available for that customer is going to give them peace of mind. It's going to give them financial security. So they may be taking their money out of a savings account or investment and putting it into this depreciating asset. And that's going to give them financial security because these products will never have them reaching back into their savings account to make repairs or to service the vehicle. It's also going to give them a hedge on inflation. I mean, inflation, things go up and they continue to rise. It's also going to give them higher resale value. If they decide to purchase purchase a service contract or any of these products, all these products, for the most part, are transferable. That's another benefit that the customer has. And it's relief for those unexpected and stressful mishaps that are going to occur during the course of ownership. So when you go into an F&I menu presentation, before you start your presentation, especially in a cash deal, you look at the customer and say, look, I've got a number of options to enhance your ownership experience. Let me explain these options to you. It's going to give the customer long-term satisfaction as well, because you're going to determine their driving habits. How long they're going to plan on keeping the car, where they service the car, do they have pets riding along, what's their insurance deductible, what type of driving do they do. You're going to have to ask these questions so that after you give this wonderful presentation of the products that are available to them, you're able to close them and give them the you told me so's. These are the reasons why I recommend these products for you, especially based on the information that you share with me. Remember, I mentioned all these products are transferable, so it's going to give them higher resale value. Especially with a cash buyer, you need to mention that to them. You need to mention them. It's cancelable as well, and you'll get a refund on these products. If you buy this car and you take it and you drive it for 3 years and you decide to trade it in or sell it, if you decide to sell it, it's going to be worth more value because it has these products. But if you go to trade it in, you're going to get a refund that you can apply to the other next vehicle, products, or down payment. This is going to pay in addition to any other coverage you have. For example, windshield. If you have a ding or a dent, you don't have to go to your insurance. You won't have to go to your insurance company to have them repair or replace the windshield. You can go to this company so your insurance rates don't go up. We're going to offer you various terms. We're going to offer you various deductibles. There's supplemental coverage for these high-tech items. And another thing that's really cool about these products, they're nationwide service. And there are ancillary benefits. So remember, when you go into a cash deal, especially a cash deal, you gotta mention these features and benefits to the customer. And oftentimes we don't, because one of the mindsets that most F&I managers I encounter have with cash deals is that, you know what, I'm not gonna make any money, it's a cash deal. So they kind of like just go through their presentation very casually or very rapidly, and they don't follow the whole process. It's almost like, you know, they make the customer wait on the showroom floor because they're not important, because they're not a finance or a lease deal. And that resonates with the customer, and that apprehension and resistance just builds. So remember, you got to get out to the customer fast and furious. You got to form that connection with the customer, and you got to get information from them and share with them that information that they gave you. I say don't verbal vomit, but you're going to regurgitate all over them based on the information they gave to you, all right? But you give a wonderful presentation, which I'm going to share with you again, and then you go and you close them based on their criteria, not yours. And watch what happens. I'm telling you right now, that's what you need to do. So remember, you need to plan. You need to find that subtle need so that you can amplify the why you're presenting the products in the manner that you are. You got to prepare yourself with a well-organized presentation, especially with cash deals, and slow it down a little bit so the customer can truly understand what they're getting. You know, I often talk about pays for. You know, that's direct. Just tell them, and you know, this pays for that, and this pays for that. You know, you're paying cash for the car. This will pay for that, so you don't have to take any more money out of your savings. And that will energize your presentation. If you plan and you prepare yourself, you'll have a more energized presentation. And if you have the right attitude, and that's the most important thing, I know F&I trainers and coaches out there all the time talking about attitude on cash deals. You know, I once worked for David Lewis and Associates, what I'm sure many of you know. If you don't, you know now. I worked for him for about 5 years before I worked for AutoNation. And we did an experiment. We had a dealer group, and we took one F&I manager, and all he did was cash deals. And we coached, and we trained. And all he knew he was getting for the whole month was cash deals. And he maximized the potential on those cash deals. Okay, maybe he didn't make quite as much money as the finance or lease deals that were going into that dealership, but he was way above the national average on cash deals. And I'm not going to mention the numbers because it was a while ago, but he maximized because that's all he had. Remember, when you signed up for this gig, you signed up for cash deals, lease deals, and finance deals. There's no sign on your door that say, we no longer accept cash deals. If it's a cash deal, go see the cashier. Don't have that attitude. Remember, plan, prepare, and you'll perform much better. And when you talk about process, we talk about the F&I introduction, how we move into the introduction, we verify all the information, whether it's on the phone or through emails or the customer's there at the dealership. We look at that deal, we go over the numbers with the customer, and then we start asking them questions about their driving habits. You know, we tie in how long you plan on keeping the car and how many years you drive to the maintenance, how often do you maintain the vehicle. We want to determine the customer's deductible, to determine what type of risk factor they are. In other words, if they have a $200 deductible, they don't like to take a risk, but that customer has a $500 or $1,000, they're more likely to take a risk. We talk about if they have pets riding along. Oh, that's a really good idea. Give the facility tour prior to giving an F&I presentation. But more importantly, when that sales consultant brings you that deal and they bring you a trade, you need to coach the sales consultant on questions they should ask the customer regarding the trade to better inform you as to how you can sell that customer. So do the trade, have the sales consultant do the trade walk, take the pictures and everything, have a discussion with the customer, and relay all that information back to you. And here's how you do it, okay? You know, that sales consultant that looked at the trade, and you want to make sure that you ask the sales consultant these questions so that you condition them every time they bring you a deal with a trade. They know you're going to ask these questions, so they're asking these questions of the customer. You know, how long do you own the car? How often did you maintain the vehicle? Did you have to change any of the tires, or you replace the tires? Do you have both sets of keys? Do you ever replace the windshield or have the windshield repaired? When you purchased this vehicle, did you purchase any type of ancillary product such as a service contract, guaranteed asset protection if you did finance it, any prepaid maintenance or tire and wheel coverage or theft or anything like that when you purchased the vehicle? Because my appraiser looks at that as you liking to take care of your vehicles. Do you have any pets riding along? Or maybe the sales consultant noticed there's some stains in the interior, some dings or dents. Actually asked the customer because they saw some pet hairs in the car. Do you have pets riding along? If you ask the sales consultant these questions, and this is all part of that sales process, when they get the deal to you, you're going to have better information about how to sell that customer. Let's talk about process again, okay? The service walk, the facility tour. Create awareness through a facility tour. As the customer's walking through their dealership, have the sales consultant point out the busy customer lounge, how all these people are waiting for service, about your parts inventory, about your parts truck out there, and if you need a part, you have a truck that's going to go get it, and the shuttle service, and your diagnostic machines, and all the money you invested in the mechanics and all this stuff. This all creates awareness. Talk about the tool manufacturer's trucks, the Snap-on truck, the Mac Tools, and the Cornell tool truck that's on the lot. And how the sales consultant will say, these trucks are always here because the mechanics are always updating their tools because of the changing in technology and the changing in the dynamics of these vehicles. Talk about Dent Wizard, you know, the guys out there repairing dings and dents, and how easy it is to remove those dings and dents without having to worry about a body shop. These are the things that you should be teaching your sales staff to do, so that when they bring you the deal, they've created that subtle awareness in the customer's mind, and when you start asking them the questions, they're giving you answers, again, that you can actually share with this customer after you're done with your presentation. It's amazing how these little things work. How often you heard me say, a little plus a little plus a little equals a lot. You know, it's these little things that add up to the big picture. It's not that one big thing, and especially with cash deals. So train your sales staff, especially when they get a cash deal, to go above and beyond the process, go above and beyond the procedures, so that you have a better chance of selling stuff to these customers. The other thing you got to remember is you have to have an F&I checklist. There's 3 things that need to happen before you even attempt to sell, whether it's a lease customer, a finance customer, a cash customer, and especially on a cash customer. Make sure the customer sat in the vehicle they purchased. Make sure that they've driven the vehicle that they purchased, and make sure they've gone on a facility tour. That's only going to solidify your place in the process. If they do that, they've created mental ownership, okay? And you're able, through that mental ownership, to get inside their head and sell them more product. It's just common sense. And understand that your enthusiasm and your attitude towards cash deals matters a lot. I mean, let's face it. How many times have I talked about how important visual, vocal, and verbal communication is? I mean, 55% of what the customer sees is how excited you are about them buying a car. Your body language. 38% is how you say or how you explain these products, and how intense, how you go at them with regard to buying products based on the information they share with you. Only 7% of what you say they listen to. It's all about your semantics. And remember, 65% of your customers that are sitting in front of you are visual learners. So go at them with visuals. Make sure that menu's nice and clean and precise. Only 35% of the customers that you're going to encounter in the F&I office are going to hear what you're saying. Most of them are going to see what you're doing. So be enthusiastic, be energetic, have those semantics. This is the attitude that you need, a real positive, enthusiastic attitude with a cash deal. Stop being Debbie Downer and stop being Peter Positive when it comes to cash deals. And you're going to sell a lot of product. So when you talk about trade, let's get back to the trade, all right? Because I think it's really important. There's relevant information. I mentioned how long you plan on driving the car. How long did you drive the car? How often did you maintain the car? Do you have pets riding along? Have the tires and windshield been replaced or repaired? What do you like most about the car? What do you like least about about the car? Did you finance or lease the last one? These are the questions, once again, that your sales consultant should be asking every single customer when it comes for a trade. And most importantly, when you purchased this vehicle originally, did you purchase any products or services such as a vehicle service contract, tire and wheel, or anything else? And if you finance it, did you pay Gap? Did you buy Gap? That's the trade. And then the service walk. And then the introduction. And that all leads up to a wonderful menu presentation. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, before I print the final paperwork, I'd like to review the figures one more time. This is the sale price of the vehicle. And I want you to know you can take delivery of the vehicle at that sale price. That may not be the best choice for you. There's other options to enhance your ownership experience. My job is to review those options with you. And then you go through that menu with the same enthusiasm as if it were a cash deal or a finance deal. You look at them and you say, this first column set up with everything that's available to you, beginning with a vehicle service contract that's going to pay for all mechanical electric breakdowns over the next 5 years or 100,000 miles. And you've determined how many miles they drive and how long they plan on keeping the car during your introduction. Then you get into the tire and wheel and how the tires and wheels, if they're damaged by a road hazard, they'll pay to repair the tire. If the tire is unrepairable, unable to sail around the rim, they'll replace the tire and rim over the next 5 years. Then you have this key replacement, and keys are very expensive today. It will pay to have these keys reprogrammed, replaced, or repaired when they're ever lost, stolen, or broken. And if you have ancillary benefits with the key replacement, tell them it will pay for the boat key. You mentioned you had a boat. If you lose the keys, I'm sure your boat key's on the key ring as well. Or your house key to get in to get your extra set of keys so you can get in the car where you lost your keys. You have this wonderful paint and fabric that's going to enhance the ownership experience by having this car look newer longer. And when you go to trade it in, it's going to look pristine. These are the things that you say to your customer. You know, I know you take really good care of your car, but for those disrespectful people that park too close to your vehicle, there's paintless dent removal that'll pay a technician to come to your home or office and remove those dings of dents. And then there's the windshield coverage, so you don't have to notify your insurance company if you get a little chip or crack. They'll send a technician out or windshield specialist to repair that window, that windshield, or that crack. And then there's theft. I mean, your insurance company's not going to offer you this. They're going to pay you up to $5,000 or whatever the monetary amount is if the vehicle's ever stolen and not recovered due to theft after 30 days. And then I like to call the second column the practical option. And that's where you throw the bundle in. And that's going to save you a little bit of money as well. And you make a little joke. You know, we talk about flow and the bundles and that stuff. Have fun with the menu presentation. Be excited. Get the customer involved. We know how customers enter the F&I office. Always like this, all back, and they're not listening to you. But if you do a really good presentation and you're enthusiastic and you have a really good attitude, you're going to draw that customer closer and closer to make a decision to buy stuff. And then the core option, which is the basic coverage, vehicle service contract, and tire and wheel. And then maybe have a core plus if you're going with 4 columns. And it really doesn't matter how many columns you use, because I'm a true believer after all these years in finance that the only column that matters is the first column. Because I want to expose every product that's available to every customer every single time, and that's what's loaded in that first column. And I give a brief description like I just described, pays for this and pays for that, and then I ask the customer to make a decision at the end of the presentation. Which option works best for you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? And I wait for their response, okay? And a lot of times, it's gonna be none. And I look right at them and say, I get it. The only reason customers choose not to enroll in these options, it really narrows down to one reason. They simply don't see enough value to spend the extra money. Isn't that how you feel, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? And Mr. Jones, 99.9% of the time, are gonna look at you and say, you're right, Gerry. I just don't see enough value to spend the extra money. I guarantee you, there's a minimal amount of customers that are gonna say, I don't have the money. Because paying cash, they don't withdraw everything out of their savings account. And remember, find out if it's true cash or credit union. And I'm going to share with you in a future presentation how to convert customers from cash to finance or lease, or from a credit union to a captive audience. Now, if you like what you heard, you got to check us out at prodprep.com. Check us out and take a free 30-day test drive. Until next time, go get them.